All right, hello. My name is Nick, owner of BoxerChan, and this is Nichole Goodnight. Can you say
Hi.
hello and say who you are?
Hello, I'm Nichole Goodnight. I voice things and play games, and I get to voice in games sometimes too, which is really cool.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Mhm.
But yes, I'm just gonna ask some questions, and you can take all the time you want to answer them. Go on any tangents you want. We have as much
Good,
time as
because
you'd
that
like.
that's gonna happen probably.
No, no worries at all. No worries at all. All right. First off, I just want to ask what got you into voice acting and just that whole genre of work in general.
So it actually started with a little fan project back in, oh gosh, 2012
Mm,
maybe.
oh wow, yeah.
Um, I did awful. I did really bad. The animation was gorgeous. It was my first like voice acting thing. I did so
Yeah,
poorly. The
yeah.
video got over 7 million views, which
Oh
is
my goodness.
unfortunate because I did very bad, and people were very quick to point out that I did very
Oh
bad.
no. Oh
Yeah.
no.
So a couple years later, I was watching a friend stream art, and she had horror stories on in the background, and I love horror.
Mm.
So I asked her what it was. She said it was the No Sleep podcast. I looked it up and they had like a little volunteer section. And so I clicked it and I looked at it and I was like, they would never accept me. So I closed the
Yeah.
page.
Oh
Um,
no.
Months later, I was like, well, what if? So I sent in a message. This was in 2014. And they got back to me and asked me for a sample. I sent that in. And then I've been part of the No Sleep podcast ever since. This is a
Wow.
decade now.
Yeah,
Um,
literally a decade. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So from that, I mean, that opened up opportunities. I've done 3 US tours with a couple shows in Canada, so I've got to meet a lot of
Ooh,
other people who worked in like horror podcasting. I've
nice.
gotten to do work for Creepy and for SCP Archives and
Nice. Nice.
Dark Dice, which is really cool. It's by the makers of White Vault, um,
Mm.
and just like a lot of horror themed opportunities opened because of that. And that's actually why I got into Slay the Princess because Abby Howard, who is the artist for Slay the Princess,
Which you can
also
see
did
right
art for
here.
No
This
Sleep
great art that's surrounding
right
me.
there. It's so good. She's magical.
Mm,
She's so
yeah, it
good.
looks gorgeous. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what got me into voice acting was doing really badly on a fan animation, and then doing my best at a horror podcast.
Nice. So what I'm getting away from this is that do really poorly and then it just
Feel
works out.
bad.
And then it just works out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Nice.
eventually you won't suck as much, and then you're great. Then you're golden.
No, that's a really cool story. I guess like onto that, what would you say to people who want to get into voice acting? What would you say like, hey, this
Oh
is
my
like
gosh.
the number one thing or number like one or two things or like this is what you should do.
I always say that it feels very like cliche to say this, but I always just like dive into it, go for it.
Mm,
A lot of what holds people back is themselves.
mm.
Case in point, I almost didn't apply for No Sleep.
Yeah, yeah, from your own
Um,
story. Yeah.
yeah, because I personally don't like my own voice. So I was like, there's no way they'd accept me. And if I hadn't applied for No Sleep, I probably never would have done anything that I've done now.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
my biggest thing, again, as cliche and silly as it may sound, is just dive into it. Twitter often has casting calls open for people who are doing fan projects, and I
Mm.
find that's a really good place to check. I'm actually in one that's coming out called Forged Bonds, which is a
Ooh, okay.
mythology themed podcast,
That
and I
sounds
play
cool.
Hera, so I'm very excited for that.
Nice.
Um, but it's just there's just so many cool things on their little projects. So many people are doing things nowadays, wanting voices for little animations.
Mm.
So I always direct people over to like check casting calls on Twitter. Voice Bunny is a website that you can record for people who are requesting like radio spots. So
Mm.
it
Okay.
might be like an ad for a product and it's 15 to 30 seconds long and it may only be like $5 to $10, but A, you're getting experience and B, you're
Yeah,
getting a little
yeah.
bit of money and C, you're building your portfolio. So I usually send people to casting calls on Twitter and Voice Bunny because it's actually a pretty good site. I used to use it a lot. I don't so much anymore, but
A
I
good
love
way to
it.
get started and into it.
It's very good way.
No, that's good information.
Yeah,
I think for yeah, like you were saying, for a lot of people, they just don't really know where to start. And they're like, oh, who would actually want me and stuff like that. I agree.
a lot of people. A
I
lot of people would
I
want
felt the
to
same
see.
way when I was starting my own business, and like I remember in college asking very similar questions to someone like, "Hey, I'm really interested just like doing content and for a business one day, and like what can I do for my voice? Like how can I make things better?" And it's like, "You sound great. What are you talking about?" And I
Like,
think
just
about
go
that
for
sometimes
it.
when I get sad, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no, I should be fine. I should
That's
be
how I got
fine."
into GDQ as well. Is a friend messaged me and he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about hosting for Games Done Quick?" And I said, "I don't even know what you're saying right now because I was not familiar with it." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, it's a speedrunning thing. You should watch it." So I watched him and I was like, "Hey, this is great." He's like, "Yeah, the people who are reading the donations, you should try out for that."
Mhm.
So the first time they opened up auditions after that was for Summer Games Done Quick 2019.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
submitted an application and I had no idea what was to follow. And what was to follow was an audition, which was terrifying,
Oh my
where you
goodness.
get
That's so
fake
interesting.
donations, a fake run, and you have to spend your time going over a video exactly like you would in person. And
Oh
I
wow,
made it
that's
in on
so
my first
cool. I had no
try. And it
idea.
was, yeah, it's terrifying. And usually there's like 125 people that audition and
Mm,
25-ish get in. So I got very lucky getting in my first time. I did not get in my time after that, but I've gotten in every time since. I did
nice.
cry when I didn't get in for
Oh,
AGDQ 2020.
oh
I found out in my car because I saw the email pop up and I pulled over and I read the email and I was
no.
sobbing in my car. But so many people apply. So, like, you could have the best voice and do so well.
No,
And
it
there's
sounds
just
really
so many
competitive.
talented people. It is.
Yeah.
But everyone goes through the same process. But initially, I was like, there's no way they'd never accept me. And honestly, until probably about last year, every time I did an audition, I would freak out to my friends and be like, I'm never going to make it in. I'm
I'm
never
never
going to
gonna
make
make
it in.
it.
They'd be like, shut up, Nichole. Come on, just enough. We could be quiet.
Oh, that's so cool though.
Mhm.
Dang. So yeah, that's like another good example of like you didn't give up. You tried again, and
Mhm.
here you are.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Next question. So let's talk about Slay the Princess a little bit. This has
sure.
been like a big deal. This has been like
Hmm.
you're the main, pretty much the main focus of the game.
Yeah.
So being in that position, your voice is going to be probably the most thing that's heard, especially in visual novel-esque games. Voices matter more than anything, really. It's dialogue, it's imagery, and then if there's voice acting, it's voice acting. Gameplay, of course, if there's like puzzles and stuff, yes, but like that's going to be like one of the most important things. So uh, when making that and thinking about things like that, what was your biggest hurdle while making this game, being in that position?
Myself.
Yeah. Well, go into that. Go into that. What
So
do you mean by that?
prior to Slay the Princess, one of my biggest fears about myself as a voice actor was that I felt like I didn't have range.
Mm,
Like you look at your Tara Strongs and things like that, you have people who can sound like they're a little child. You can have people that sound like they're a grandmother. I always distinctly feel like I sound like myself no matter what role I'm put in,
mm,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing because there's plenty of good voice actors that you know it's them. But I always worried about my range. So when they first came to me, I got message. I didn't audition or anything. They came to me after seeing a stream I had done. And I'd done a charity stream in which I played Scarlet Hollow, which is their other game. It's unvoiced. And
okay.
so I voiced every character while I was playing through, which was a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but they
I've
approached
done
me
that too in
because,
streaming. Yeah, it's a lot.
oh, it's rough.
Yeah.
They approached me because the way that I voiced some of their characters was exactly how they had pictured
Oh,
that
that's
character
so
sounding.
awesome. Yeah.
So when they messaged me and they're like, "Hey, Nichole, how are you doing? We have a game coming up, and we would wonder if you would like to be in it. You'd be playing the role of the princess in a game called Slay the Princess." And my first reaction was, "Are you sure you have the right person?" Because I, again, no confidence, didn't think that they were correct. Like I thought maybe they meant to message a different Nichole Goodnight. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Um, and when the game first was created, it was actually a lot smaller. So there was
Mm,
only a couple different paths. There wasn't a ton. It was maybe a couple-hour long game. We never
yeah.
expected it to grow as much as it did, but as we got more into it, more paths made sense. The story got fleshed out and it became more and more. And now the princess has something along the lines of, gosh, 15 to 20 different forms who
Yeah.
all distinctly sound like the princess, but also all have their own little thing that like differentiates themselves. So my big holdup and fear was that I wouldn't have the range to do that. And what Slay the Princess taught me was to shut up. And yes, I do. So like that felt
Hell
really good.
yeah. Nice, nice.
It felt really nice. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm just hard on myself, I guess.
No, it's across the board from every situation for voice actors. It's always just there's so many hardships with like dealing with yourself and being like, okay, can I do this? Can I do these things? And it sounds like this was like one of the biggest examples of yes, you are capable. You are able to do this. This is something that you have talent in.
Usually I'm typecast as like the scared damsel who's so frightened in like the horror situation. I can't get out of trouble. And like, so the princess, base princess, done. But then there was like villain kind of princesses. There's like a feral beast sounding princess. There's the Dommy Mommy princess whose vocal direction was Dommy Mommy. So like there was just a lot of different things that were away from that standard you're the damsel in distress or you're playing a young child, which is another thing that I often get to do because people love to cast me as a child for some reason.
Oh no. Yeah. I that makes me think of the voice actress for Renri from Full Metal Alchemist. She brings up very similar points, especially as a woman in the voice actress world, of like being typecasted, being like, okay, I've done this character of woman in distress, you know, asking for help, etc. There are other things that can be done. There are other choices, and give me those. Give me time to show you that I have the range, I have the potential of doing other characters, doing other voices. So it sounds like just one game gave it all, which is great. That's unheard of usually. That's crazy.
It super did, which was really cool.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. I agree. Next question, I guess. Yeah, to lead right into that. What was your biggest achievement with working with this game that you're like, okay, this is like, I'm so proud of myself with this one?
We won an award. Well, we won a bunch of different awards, but
Yeah.
like, I went to the New York Game Awards back in January, February, one of those months in New York City. And we were there and it was a really, really cool event. And we actually won the award we were there for, which was really neat.
That
We
is
got to
really
go up
neat.
on stage. It was really cool. But honestly, seeing everybody's reaction to the game and reception of the game and like all the cool fan art that's come out of it and how many people can relate to the different paths and how many people put their own spin on the story because the devs will never tell you exactly what the story is meant to mean. They want you to know. They want you to figure that out for yourself. They want it to mean to you what you want it to mean to you. So it's been really neat to watch like video essays on it and see people do that. It's really cool to watch playthroughs. On Twitch, I like to pop into people's streams. And when the game first came out, I got away with being like secretive.
Secretive,
So I could say something in chat and no one would know. I say unfortunately, it's a good thing, but I kind of like to lurk sometimes. Unfortunately, now if I go into someone's chat, 9 out of 10 times someone will be like, "That's the voice actor for the princess." And I'm like, no, shush. Don't tell them. I want it to be a secret.
Yeah.
Because I also don't want them to feel like pressured or
And change how they're playing the game and yeah.
Usually they're extremely excited. They apologize for slaying me. I tell them it's fine. It's very cute.
That's so cute. That's so cute.
But yeah, like getting to see all the creativity that's come out of it and just how it's made people happy is really cool.
That is really cool. I would. That's definitely an achievement in my book. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So since he isn't here, let's change gears a little bit. My business partner had some questions for you. Kyle, otherwise known as Joe Schmo Gaming. He himself is a VTuber, and he wanted to ask you what made you decide to be a VTuber.
So that same friend who told me I should try out for GDQ, and I
Yeah.
told him I don't know what that is, one day messaged me out of the blue and said, "Hey, do you know anything about VTubing?" And I
Oh, I
said,
see. That's a good
"No."
friend. That's a good friend.
So that night, because I used to stream with Facecam and I didn't
Yeah.
mind it. Like
Yeah.
it was never a problem. But that night I downloaded, I think it was Vroid Studio,
Mm.
the one where you can make a 3D model. And I
Yeah.
spent all night making a 3D VTuber model.
Oh,
And literally, I think like the next day when I streamed, I just debuted as a VTuber. And I didn't say anything in my chat. I didn't like tell them that this was coming. I
that's
just
so
was a
funny.
VTuber and was like, oh no, this is me. Like nothing's
Yeah.
different. And then for my birthday a couple of years ago, one of my very good friends, Cat Link, drew me my 2D model as a gift,
Oh,
which is really
nice.
sweet.
That is
So I
really
got
sweet.
that rigged and I use that now. But I love it. I love VTubing. I don't really miss doing face cam streams. Like I
Yeah.
didn't dislike them, but there's something really cool about just being able to customize. And if I want to throw something on my model, I can do that. If I want to draw something for her, I
Yeah.
can do
Yeah.
that. It's really, really fun. And it's very, my 3D model had very expressive facial features, which was hilarious when streaming. Um,
Nice.
so it's just, I love VTubing.
No,
It's really
that's
fun.
awesome. It
Mhm.
seems like VTubing has just kind of like become less of a niche and just like not maybe like a new normal, but like it's just like it's just like a really good
Yeah.
venue for anyone and everyone to
And anyone
be
can get
whoever they
into it.
want,
Hmm.
customize, yeah. And like you said, you literally did it in a night, and you were like, okay, yeah, I can just do this now. So it's available to anyone,
Yeah,
who
and you
wants
can
to be a
do so
VTuber.
many things for free. Like I got a lot of assets off of Booth, and they didn't cost
Yeah.
me anything. When I got started, a lot of people have this misconception that it's a huge, huge startup cost, and it
Hmm.
can be.
Hmm.
But for my model, if I didn't, I bought her a special dress and a special hair. If I didn't do that, it would have cost me like nothing. So,
Yeah.
really, really cool to get into and learn about. I love VTubing.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that's working out for you.
Mm.
Oh, he also asked, uh, you talked about it a little bit before, but I guess I'll double check about it. How did you get approached about Slay the Princess? Like, how did that whole process go down? You said that they really liked how they liked your voice and how you were doing on stream for their other game. Was there any more going on there? It was just as simple as them asking like, "Hey, would you be down for this?" And you
And
said
I was like,
yes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Wow. That's
that's it.
everyone who's watching this, just listen what she's saying. Just be out there, have fun, and
Yeah,
maybe one day some
yeah.
someone will
And
hit
it's
you up. You
really
never
cool.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
it was just because I did justice to like just the way that they had pictured the character.
That's so
That was
awesome.
it. It was really cool.
Dream story, truly dream
Yeah, I
story.
feel like I got very, very lucky. I got just incredibly lucky with
And
that
nothing
one.
wrong with that. That's part of the
No.
game. That's part of the game. It's
Mhm.
part of getting out there. Like you were saying earlier, the worst part, the hardest part is beating yourself. Like just being able to get out there and do things, put out content.
Yeah, that part's rough, but once you do
Yeah,
it,
yeah, that part
a
is rough.
lot
I would
opens
agree
up.
with you. Um, last question from Joe Schmo. What kind of anime do you like? What has anime affected anything for your voice acting, for games that you're interested in?
I love a lot of different anime.
Hmm. Tell us about
When I
that.
first started watching it, it was mostly horror. So
Yeah.
Higurashi no Nakamura ni and Elfen Lied are two of my all-time favorites. One of my proudest things is Elfen Lied didn't have a lot of merch when it came out, and it still doesn't.
Oh yeah,
But
not at all.
Wave made two figures, Nana and you, and I have both of them. Um, and I will never sell them. I will never open them. I love them. I've checked eBay a couple times. Sometimes they're like $1,000 a piece. And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh, no,
they're
leave them alone."
unbelievably expensive.
They're ridiculously expensive, but I have them and I love them very much.
That's so
Higurashi, I
awesome.
got into, I think, from same friend with the
Mm.
GDQ and the VTubing.
What a good friend. What a good
He's
friend.
great. He's one of my best friends. He's amazing. But I absolutely loved that one. My Home Hero is really good. I've been watching
Mm.
Free Run, which I think is one of the just top
Top tier.
animes of all time.
Nice.
Dungeon Meshi is really good. I've been watching
Mm.
that
Mm.
lately. I started with Fushigi Yugi, like
Ooh, yeah, that's
before
a good one. Yeah,
anything,
that's a
was one of
classic.
the
Yeah.
first ones I ever watched. And I loved that. I just there's a whole bunch. Like I like to stick to horror or like actiony, I guess.
Mm,
I there's just so many. I really should like keep track of what I've seen because
yeah.
there's a lot. But
I I have an Annie list. It's just like
that's a good
letterbox for
idea.
anime, and
I've
I'm filling it out, right, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna forget things. I'm gonna.
started Mob Psycho, and I really like
Mm,
that. I haven't gotten very far in it. I'm most of the way, I think, through FMAO 3,
mm,
but not all the way. Finished Attack on Titan.
nice.
Um, Me and my best friend have very conflicting views on Eren Yeager,
Ah, I see. As everyone.
as everyone
Yeah.
does. But yeah, I watch a lot, and I enjoy it. Dungeon Meshi is very good. If you haven't seen it, I
I need to.
highly
I've
suggest
heard good
it.
things about it. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I okay. Quick tangent. Quick tangent for Higurashi. Okay, so did you watch all of it, like including the new stuff,
So
the
I've seen
Sotsu
or
and forget what the other one's called.
I've seen Kai. I've
Yeah,
seen like the
Kaisi.
old
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I
the
have
original
not
three
seen the new
seasons,
one.
the
Mhm.
perfect stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Never saw the new one yet.
Okay, then I will not ask about that. Go watch it and make
I've
your own
been
opinion about
meaning
it.
to.
It's okay. Here's a good analogy. I tell people about this. The first three seasons of Higurashi, uh the two and Kai, perfect. It's a masterpiece. It's
They're so good.
unbelievably excellent. The storytelling, how it shows what's happening in its world, perfect. It's like fine cuisine. The new seasons is like CC's Pizza. Like you know, it's like
Oh,
it's like sometimes you want like really crappy pizza and you're down for that and you're like whatever, I don't care. I'm just gonna eat this pizza from CC's. Who cares? But there's no mistaking that's what it is. So go in with
excited to watch it.
expectations. Go in with very tepid
Low.
expectations.
You got
It
it.
is a fun ride.
I will.
I will say it's a fun ride. But oh my god, it's crazy.
I'm excited now.
Nice. But I believe that's all my questions. The only real last thing I wanted to ask was there any future projects that you wanted to share? Anything that you wanted to share about yourself that we didn't talk about?
Yeah, so I, in addition to hosting for Games Done Quick, also speedrun games,
Oh my god.
which is really cool. Phasmophobia is one of them.
Mm.
It's also one of my favorite games. It is an incredibly fun speedrun. Lethal Company, another really fun speedrun, also very chaotic.
Yeah,
I
that.
speedrun The Lion King on Super Nintendo.
Nice.
Frog Fractions, which has since been banned from GDQ. But I sped run it on a hotfix show before it was banned. So my claim to fame.
Nice. That is a claim to
Haven, which
fame.
there's a poster.
Yeah,
of
I
Haven
saw that. I was noticing your Haven
Haven.
poster. Hell yeah. That's a good
Haven's
game.
amazing.
Yeah, it is
It's one
very
of my
good.
favorite games. I love it very much. But I speedrun Haven. I got to do it for an event on GDQ not too long ago.
Mm.
And just had it, Golf It,
Oh, golf.
which I got to run for Summer Games Done Quick 2023, live on stage, which was highly suggest watching that VOD for
Yes.
anyone
For
watching.
anyone who's not seen that, Hyler's just looking up right now. It's
It's
very
a fever
good.
dream. I got away with saying a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't. It's an absolute fever dream, but it's really good.
Yeah, European time GGQ stuff is like A plus content. It's Wild West.
Billy Block.
Yeah.
As far as upcoming projects, I have one that I can't talk about.
That's
so
fair,
keep
that's fair.
An eye out on that.
Yeah.
June-ish.
Ooh, okay.
And I am in a podcast coming out again called Forged Bonds, which I think is going to come out sometime after June, which should be really fun because I get to play Hera, and she isn't the damsel in distress voice. She's,
Oh, nice.
for those who have played Slay the Princess, is more like the prisoner. So she's very, very monotone, very like just like this, which I really like because I don't get to do that a lot. Um, and I mean, I still stream more than I probably should, but less than I used to.
Yeah, where can people find you? Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitch at Nichole Goodnight,
Hmm.
Twitter at NR Goodnight, and that's it. That's about it. I think
No, that's good.
I have a YouTube that has clip compilations.
Yes, I actually
Pretty cool,
subscribe
I
to it.
guess.
I found, yeah, yeah.
They are I wish I could say that's not an accurate representation of who I am, but it's absolutely an accurate representation of who I am. So I'm sorry slash you're welcome, because it is
Yeah.
chaotic.
No, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, thank you again for being here, Nichole. This was Nick from BoxerChan, Nichole Goodnight, and thank you all for watching.